Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Brand Design Masters podcast. I'm your host, VanDusen, and I'm super excited because I'm here today with Jozelle Tech. And Jozelle is the CEO of the Rolling Media, which is a brand creative consultancy that's based in the Philippines. The Rolling Media specializes in branding and building brands for small to medium sized businesses and personal brand entrepreneurs. Their clients include Nathan Hirsch of FreeUp, Dan Locke, the Freelance Tribe Movement, Social Media Academy, The Verse Media, and Jonathan Christian. Some of the Rolling Media's most powerful services are called the Content Chameleon, and that focuses on content repurposing across social media platforms to maximize the impact of any single piece of content by translating it into other media forms. Now, full disclosure, Jozelle also works with us here at the Brand Design Masters as our marketing assistant, and I thought it would be great to get her on the show so she could share her incredible journey in building her design business and content empire and how she pitched and landed me as a client. She's one of the most ambitious, talented, and genuine people I know, and I want you to get to know her too. I'm sure you'll be inspired by her story, as I have been, and with that, I welcome Jozelle.
Hey everyone. Hello Philip. I am very excited to be here as well at Brand Design Masters podcast.
Well, it's going to be it's a little odd, and we were talking about this before we went live. But because we've worked together now for I think almost 2.5 years, it's we know each other really well. So we're going to have to act to a certain extent like we don't know each other so well as we have this podcast, because I want everyone to get to know you. And so, why don't you just take a moment and give everybody a little window into Jozelle Tech's world?
Okay. So I've been in the online industry for over 10 years now. I have had experience working as a multi-skilled freelancer. It's like name the kind of online gigs, and I probably have done that in the past. I've worked as a solo freelancer and as part of international creative and marketing teams, and I'm working with them remotely from my home here in Manila. So over those 10 years, I have jumped from one job to another, um, and it's actually the beginning of my journey online. Like the whole um, decade, 1 decade of my life have been working online the at home in my small room here in Manila. And then come my 25th birthday, and it was a very significant year for me. I had a big hit in my life. Like, as they say, you would probably have heard this quarter life crisis, but with me, it's really a crisis. Like, back in 2015, going 2016, I was a total mess. I was lost. I'm broke. I'm heartbroken, and I'm jobless. Like all the things that could happen in a year have happened that year. And my mom is 10,000 miles away from me, and I don't know what to do with my life. But I read this somewhere that sometimes your biggest heartbreak could be your biggest breakthrough, and it was very true to me. I had to have a reset, or let's say I had to start all over again back in 2017. I started creating content online, and I worked as an online freelancer with Nathan Hirsch. It's very similar to Upwork, but different features, different style of working as a freelancer. But basically, it was a start of a new journey for me. The good thing is, even though it felt like I was starting from scratch, I wasn't really. I am really starting from experience, from the mistakes that I've had in the past. And then I started showing up. Showing up meaning I started joining conferences, I started meeting a lot of people. I get to join communities of online freelancers because back then, when I was starting out, it wasn't that huge in the Philippines. And I was surprised by the time that I reboot my life. There are a lot of people actually working online already. Like I wasn't aware that there were communities just like the freelance movement tribe, that there are people who are actually working just like me at their home, doing different kind of services online. And so from then on, I was able to slowly get back on my feet. And upon doing content online or doing videos or creating videos on my YouTube channel, and that's where I met you. Um, I also decided to launch a mini training program on how to begin as a freelancer, or teaching people um, how to start with their freelancing career. And from my pool of students, I handpicked talented and committed individuals who formed my beginning of the rolling media. So yeah.
And so your first content work was on YouTube, and that channel was to help other people become online freelancers. Is that what it was about?
Yes. Well, in the beginning, I was just really doing it for fun, for entertainment, because again, as I mentioned, I wasn't sure what to really do with my life. How can I really start all over again? And I've been really watching a lot of I've been really watching a lot of YouTube videos that really inspired me a lot. And so I thought of like, what if I'm the one to create content? Like instead of consuming, what if I start actually doing it, or actually producing and giving value? And I started the channel I Am Able by sharing my story, sharing my journey as an online freelancer. Because I love traveling, I also share some travel tips, especially because I am in a wheelchair. I have physical challenges, and so I also wanted to share it with people who also have disabilities, so they can know where are the places that can be accessed by a wheelchair. And then one video is about my online freelancing journey that went a bit viral, and that's the start of the journey of really getting into those communities, getting into those conferences, being guest, talking about my story, my journey.
So you started off as a virtual assistant to an extent. You didn't go to school for design or branding, right?
No. My course back in college was information technology. I really love designing, but at the beginning, I did different gigs like data entry, admin work, and then some designs, like different things. And the first ever job that I did, or that I had, was to search engine optimization, SEO. Even though at the very beginning, the position that I applied is actually graphic designer. But the funny thing is, my boss told me, "You're not a good designer. You should just do a different job," which that's why he transferred me to do SEO.
Interesting. And so, but here it is, you're, I think, 30 now, right? So this is only 5 years
Yeah.
ago where you were, kind of at square one. And now you are an agency owner. You employ a number of people doing branding, design, strategy, content development, marketing services. I mean, you are a full service agency at this point, and you've made that transition and grown to that level in 5 years, which is amazing to me. And so I think that's a testament to your energy and your ambition. But one of the things I want to share with our listeners is how we came to know each other. And I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
take just a moment to kind of give you my, well, why don't we start with your perspective? So you came across my YouTube channel, and then so how did you figure out how to connect with me?
Um. Okay. And probably this is a story that I haven't shared with you yet. Um. But when I started to get back on my feet to do freelancing again, I really wanted to do something new. And come 2018, the time or the year that I actually reached out to you is also the time that I just started to research about branding or brand strategy. I've done a lot of logos in the past, but those were all more of a graphic design work, but not really branding per se. And so when I search on YouTube, I just search brand design or branding. I don't particularly remember the keyword. I saw you on the first page, or like after a few videos, I saw your video already, and the video was about the brand elements, brand design elements. I think the top 8 or 9 brand design elements, the one that you have on your website as well, the lead magnet, and that was um the first ever video that I've watched. And then like after a few minutes of watching it, like I told myself, this is interesting. I think I can really understand this because you were able to explain to me, even though I don't have that much idea of the full context. Even though I don't have that full idea of the full context of brand design elements or branding, you were able to really help me understand the basic of it. And then after that, I went to your video list, and then I saw your playlist as well. Like you have a playlist about branding. And I watched the whole weekend just watching, binge watching those videos, like really, like from the very beginning, because I really liked watching old videos because I feel like I get to be able to really understand and get to realize your beginnings from where you are currently by the time that I get to see the newer or the latest videos that you have. And the most interesting thing about that is the first ever video that you have uploaded is still there, because some YouTube gurus or YouTubers or content creators, they tend to delete old videos. And so with you, I get to really see like the beginning of your journey as an online
Yes,
content
when
creator.
I dared to be bad.
Yeah, and it really inspired me a lot. And after watching all of those videos in that playlist, that the branding playlist that you have, I really felt like, oh, this guy seems to be really, you know, kind. And there's something in you when you talk online. It feels like you're really talking to a person, not to a camera. And that's where I had the courage to, okay, I would be really engaging with this person. And I keep on, engaging and engaging on your videos. Like I feel like every time you upload a new one, like I should be the first person to be able to view and comment and get to share my ideas or insights that I was able to get
Well, let's talk
from
about
that
that a little
video.
bit. So, I mean, that to me is what really it made you stand out from all of the thousands of comments that I get on my YouTube videos. You asked some very, very smart questions and were really, you had obviously paid really close attention to what I was talking about in whatever video it was, and you would ask really smart questions. And at the time, more early in my YouTubing, I was answering literally every comment that I got. I can't keep up with that now, but and so we would go back and forth a number of times in the comments talking about whatever it was you were asking about. And so you became, because you would show up within the first few comments of every video I posted, I got to recognize your avatar. And I thought, and you mentioned in one comment that you had a YouTube channel, and I was like, oh, I'm going to go check it out. So I clicked over, I checked out your I Am Able YouTube channel. I was really impressed by your chutzpah, by your energy, by your ambition. And I thought, I'm going to keep an eye on this girl. And we kept going back and forth. And then you reached out to me on LinkedIn. And so why don't you talk about why you did that and what came of that?
Yeah, actually, I guess fortune smiled upon me when you finally took notice of me after spending so much time engaging. When I get to see you reply to my comments, and honestly, one thing that I really admired about you back then was you really reply to every comment that you have on your channel. And so when you did notice me and you replied to me, I decided, like, you know, I would I would like to try to reach out to you on LinkedIn and get to be able to talk to you one on one if it's going to be possible. Because by the time that I'm researching about branding, I'm really learning a lot from your videos. I'm really looking forward to get a mentor, because I really believe that you would need mentors in your life in different aspects of your life. I'm just very fortunate that you are actually my mentor in different aspects of my life. And so when I reached out to you, I was really just looking forward to having a very quick conversation. That's why I asked, like, "Hey Philip, I'd like to have a quick 15-minute call with you. What can I do for me to be able to get rewarded by the time, because I know you are pretty busy, you are doing a lot of things, and so I wanted to offer something first
Well,
before
actually,
I
actually,
ask
I'm
you."
going to correct you there because I remember exactly
Mm-hmm.
what you said to me on LinkedIn. You said,
Okay.
"Can I get you on a quick 10-minute Zoom because I have an idea that I want to run by you of how we
Mm-hmm.
might be able to work together." And I was like, "Huh, interesting." And so I thought, yeah, and you had put in so much time and energy in talking to me on LinkedIn and commenting and engaging. I thought 10 minutes, I want to meet this young lady anyway. So we jumped on Zoom. And then what happened?
And then I was just mesmerized by it the first few minutes, and then I was just asking for, well, I think I was giving you some ideas on what I do, and then you were also asking me about what we offer. And then honestly, I was just looking forward for, some tips or guidance. But then we had a bargain that you would be teaching me, or you would be coaching, and then I would be giving services to you in exchange. I was really surprised by that conversation, like, oh really, I get to work with people that I really admire. Like, it was really surprising for me, to be honest, because I went to the call not expecting too much, because as I mentioned, I only asked like 10 to 15 minutes. And so when you really took notice of me and you get to have a conversation, like, I was just very, very grateful about it. And
Okay, so I feel like we've spent a whole lot of time talking about the beginning of our relationship, and I really want to dive into your business and how you've built your business so quickly and how you have you've learned brand strategy and have started to deliver brand strategy to clients in a very short period of time. And you've also built an agency of you have what you call your squad, your team,
mhm.
and so you've built a squad of people who are doing things for you and working projects with you. So talk a little bit about how you brought on that team at the very beginning, what they were doing for you at the time, and then what that's kind of grown to.
Okay. So I founded and currently sit as CEO of the Rolling Media Brand Creative Consultancy. And everyone is in the Philippines, although we are in different parts of the Philippines or our country. Um, Definitely, the rolling media, the name stems from me being in a wheelchair, but more importantly, it connotes the constant desire to move forward
Hmm.
and roll on despite any challenge in life daily. And so, my team, who were my founding team, have these challenges in their life before joining the squad. My very first hire, it was Ella. She used to do content for me. She Because I'm a very visual person, and she helps me with copy, with copywriting or creative content. Um, Now she is our CMO, Chief Marketing Officer. And we have come a long way from the very beginning. Sometimes when we look back, it felt like we have been working for years, but upon really, checking the dates, it's been only been 2 years, almost 2 years actually, since our anniversary is coming this October. And then two of my creative people, Albert and Ice, came from the mini course that I've done in 2018. And back then, they were just really doing designs, like graphic designs. And the thing is, when we started working together, they were really a total newbie. Like, they were from different fields. And so by the time that I was starting to build my company, I still had a lot of time and little money to actually pay people. And that's one thing that I realized when you are building a company. It's either you invest time or you invest money. Because when you're starting out, at least with my experience, I still have a lot of time. And so I have a lot of time to train them. And I think I've told you this before. I used to do all of this on my own. And so letting go of control and delegating things to them was really hard for me. But I realized that if I want to have exponential growth, then I have to learn to let go of things. And I'm very happy that I did, because now I can even say that my people are even better with using their tools with Adobe. And I keep on challenging them on doing different things, because before they only stick to doing design. But after a year, I started challenging them to do websites, to do video editing. And what I love about my squad is that they are really up for the challenge. And sometimes they would have doubts and limiting beliefs, but I just keep on pushing them, motivates them. And after a month or so, they would come back to me like, I'm very happy that you actually pushed me, because I would never realize that I am able to do different things. And even like with eyes, he even loved doing videos and animation now. Before, he felt like he's only good with logos, with designing banners. But now he get to realize like, I think I found my thing. And it's really makes me happy, because uh I feel like we are really moving towards the success and the growth that I'm really envisioning with the company.
One of the things that well, first of all, I just wanted to mention something to everyone who's listening, and that is that I have been always blown away by Jozelle's branding. The Rolling Media is a creative consultancy, and so they do content repurposing and design for their clients, but her branding is amazing. I mean, she exemplifies everything that I teach in terms of branding, in terms of being striking, super consistent, very consistent color palette. She has a really clear tone of voice for how she speaks about her brand, and she's taken that word, rolling, from the fact that you're, a person with a disability, and using that as a metaphor in branding. You use that like crazy consistently, and your font usage, your photography, everything that you do is so on brand in terms of design. I've just been really, really impressed by it. And so anyone who's listening, you should definitely go check out the Rolling Media, just if nothing else, to look at Jozelle's branding, because it totally rocks. Okay, that was a total aside.
Thank you.
But one of the things I wanted to talk about was something you just mentioned there about letting go of control. And when we first met, that's exactly what I was doing. I had been doing everything myself, all of my content, all my content repurposing, all my promotion of all of the content that I was doing, my newsletter, my YouTube channel, everything I was doing by myself. And I didn't know how to hand it off to anybody. And you basically taught me how to hand it off to somebody else
Mm-hmm.
and gave me a level of comfort in relinquishing that control because I really was concerned about having that level of control. And you had to demonstrate to me that you could do it, number one, and you did. But that was a very difficult transition for me. But as you said, that unlocked this level of growth in my business that until I let go of it, I couldn't grow. And so, talk about that in terms of your business a little bit, in terms of your handing off stuff to your squad and what that did for your agency and its ability to grow.
Yes, and mentioning that, I really remember the time that we were struggling about delegation, but I was very happy because with the experiences that I had with you delegating to me, I was able to use it with my team.
Mm,
Because one thing that I realized in terms of delegation is people have their own preferences. One of my guys would prefer to have a call to understand better the things that he needs to do. And one would prefer visual, some would prefer examples. So there are different preferences. But one thing that really helped me a lot is understanding how to do it. And the way we do it in the rolling media is to talk about the what, the why, and the how. Before, I only talk about the what and the how. But when I started talking about the why it needs to be this way, why it's supposed to make it this way and that, or what is the purpose of that, what is the goal of this project, they get to understand the clear picture of how they are expected to deliver. And with that sense of clarity, they get to really be more confident and be more part of the process of actually delivering a specific project or a specific results. And the way I do that now, I have my COO, who really handles the operations of the business. But we started from really getting the list of things that we have to do. Since we work with multiple clients, they have different preferences. They have different preferences as well. And every project are personalized. And so we just have to make sure we are on time, we are on the right track, and we get to have a weekly touch base. We do weekly touch base every Monday, and then they have the end of the week report for us to be able to see what has been done and what are ongoing for this week. And then by the time that we end the EOW, we get to prioritize things like, okay, for this week, what are the things that we have to prioritize for us to move forward stronger and with a clear understanding that these are the things that we have to deliver for at the end of the week. So having that process actually helped us go smoothly with all of the clients that we work with. So yeah.
so I know how you got me as a client, but how have you gone about getting your other clients? Do you do it through inbound content marketing? Do you do it through paid advertising, networking? How do you get your clients for the rolling media?
Okay. Some of our clients comes from referrals, word of mouth. If I get to work with a client, and most of clients, and I'm very happy about this, and I'm very proud, they get to love me. And so whenever we finish a project, they get to refer me to their friend, to their colleagues, or even just on a simple occasion we get to talk again, and then I ask them if they have anyone in their network who actually needs some help with their personal brand. Then they always have someone to refer as well. Another thing is inbound marketing, or more of content marketing. Since December 2019, I started posting online every single day. I never missed a day because it's like planting seeds, like really showing up, being out there, as I've learned from you, from one of your videos, out of feed, out of mind. And so with that learning, I get to really show up every single day. And it doesn't have to be always a profound post. It could be um it could be something that have happened to me during that day, or a learning, a quote, any anything that I could share to the world that could reflect my personal brand is a good post for me.
Mm.
And so with that, people get to be familiar with me. Even though in the beginning, I can really say that there are not a lot of people who are engaging to my posts, until I think 6 months after doing that, I get the traction. And now I am really, getting a lot of messages, um, reactions, comments. And what I've learned doing this for years, probably 2 years, almost 2 years, is that it's not really about the reactions or the engagements, because people get to be so focused on those things. But now I realize it's more about eyeballs. And eyeballs are somewhat invisible sometimes, because there are a lot of people that have contacted me who never engaged on my posts. But they mentioned to me during our discovery call that, hey, you know what? I am really loving your posts. I get to see who you are in your post. And so I decided to reach out, and like I would be surprised, like, really, I have never seen you in my reactions, But it's true. Even with our roll call, it's a newsletter that we send every month. There was a certain person who contacted me and told me that your roll calls are really great. Like, I've been following it every month, and I'm really excited to look to see it every month. And like, no one ever replied to my newsletters. And so, I get to be surprised on these things, and I get to be more humble about it, that you don't really know what you don't know, but sometimes it will surprise you, especially if you are consistent with what you do.
And for everyone listening, I got to tell you, Joselle's newsletter Roll Call is amazing. You totally have to check out Roll Call. So if people want to subscribe to Roll Call, your newsletter, how do they do that, Joselle?
Yeah, the rollingmedia.com/roll hyphen call.
Okay, that's great. Um, okay, now as you listened to enough of my podcast to know the question that I'm going to ask next. And
Mm-hmm.
I always end my podcast with a question to my guests. Do you have a personal mantra or some sort of manifesto that you try to live your life by?
Yes, definitely. And I know this is a question that you would be asking me, but honestly, in the beginning, I was really thinking of something that's, because I have a few that I live by, but I think this would be my favorite and is currently resonating with me these days. It's live life to the fullest.
Hmm.
Because I always say this line when I was younger, maybe because of the thought that I'd pass away at a very young age, because my siblings passed away when they were really a teenager. But if I'd be really honest with myself, I only was able to really understand and live through this at a later part of my life.
Hmm.
Because I have had experience rock bottom a couple of times in my 30 years of existence, and because of that, I truly believe that now I'd become more stronger, I'd become more wiser in terms of living the life. And the thing about when I had to reboot my life, I wasn't really living. I was mostly existing,
Mm,
as cliche it sound, but I've just really learned, and I've learned this with you, Philip. You know, um, sometimes the way you the way you take a loss is more powerful than the way you take a win.
mm.
And so, for me, nowadays, I've learned to just let go and let it flow and just leave, and there would be more meaningful things for you as long as you don't allow the situation to control you, and just let things unfold in front of you. So now I really try my best to really live for the most important things.
That is awesome and super inspiring. I find you so inspiring, Joselle, and that's why I knew it was going to be fantastic to get you on the show. Um, if anyone wants to get in touch with the Rolling Media or get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Definitely on Facebook. You can just find Jozelle Tech, or facebook.com/JozelleTech, and you can reach out to my email, CEO at the Rolling Media, or you can just check out our website, therollingmedia.com.
Awesome. Well, Jozelle Tech of the Rolling Media, thank you so much for coming on the show. I am honored to have you in my life. I'm honored to have you working with me in my business. And I find you so inspirational, and I encourage anyone who's listening to go check out the Rolling Media. You will be so glad that you did. So thanks a lot, Joselle.